Hi there, I'm Grace Simon with the New Doors Mentorship, and I'm here to share a lesson with you that has been so powerful for me because what it really did was it forced me to challenge some of the things that I believed. And I'm here with my good friend and thinking partner, Paul Martinelli. And welcome, Paul.
Thank you
for being here.
Thank you. Great to be with all of you.
So good. You know, Paul, we go through these things in our life. I mean, we go through our lives and, we have these non-starters, those non-negotiable things, right? The things which you live by, like those things that I believe to be so true. Like we'll go to the hill, we'll go to the grave with them.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, one piece of information gets dropped down and you're like, wait a minute, hold the phone.
Yeah.
Something happens. All of a sudden, everything that you believe goes out the window.
Yeah, it changes.
It changes. And when you really think about it, the way that our beliefs are created is two ways, right? One way is by, introducing a concept over and over again. Paul, I know you grew up with a stuttering problem.
Yeah.
Right? You grew up with a speech impediment. And the programming that you heard over and over again was that you had a learning disability.
Yeah.
It wasn't learning disabled. It kept telling you that, you're not smart enough.
Yeah.
You're not able to learn.
Yeah. And I think, when you think about this repetition, right, it wasn't just in what they said to me, that, Paul's learning disabled. It didn't just show up just in the reports. It showed up in, every single day over the announcement system, Mrs. Olszewski, please send Paul Martinelli down to the special ed room, right? So it was in the action too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, the anchoring was more than just the concept being introduced. It was the action too, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it was like stacking it and making it even more powerful. And I did. I spent so much of my life believing, that I was learning disabled. And, I wasn't disabled in learning until they told me I was,
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Until you told you, or you didn't even know that.
No.
Oh, my God. And I got to tell you, Paul, you're one of the smartest people I know.
Well, thank you, but yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. This guy is so smart, but our beliefs are created by what we hear over and over again.
Yeah.
And this forms what you believe about money, what you believe about relationships, about your right to have money, to have happiness, at what level of happiness you deserve to have, right?
Yeah.
We get these concepts of money doesn't grow on
trees,
right?
Yeah.
Good things come to those who
wait, right? Yeah.
I mean, we've been programmed. We've been programmed
So
to
true.
believe things like you'll never amount to anything. But think about all the beliefs. Think about it. All the beliefs that we've held. We need to challenge them.
Yeah.
But we don't challenge them, right? And I think that's perhaps the most profound thing that I've learned is that, you're highly likely to believe a lie. That we hear these things over and over again, and what if they aren't true?
Yeah, I mean, I spent the first half of my life believing that I was dumb and stupid. I had, because of my speech impediment with my stuttering, they lowered their expectation. Now, this was back in the 1970s, right? So back then they thought a speech impediment was a learning disability. Mm-hmm. I wasn't learning, like I said, I wasn't learning disabled until they programmed it into me, And but I believed that lie. I believe that lie, and not just as truth, but as my truth.
Right.
So I mean, you're 100%, and we do it all the time. What we think what we're capable of doing, what our potential is, and I think the challenging thing is that you and I, we can't see our own potential. Mm-mm. I can see your potential, you can see my potential. You say, Paul, you're one of the smartest guys, but I don't see that. And unless I stop and I start taking inventory of my life, and like you said, you got to challenge it, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, you sure do.
Yeah.
I mean, you remember, you used to believe in Santa Claus, right? The Tooth Fairy.
100%. Yeah, you can believe a lie.
Right?
Yeah.
You got kids.
Yeah.
What do they believe?
Yeah, of course. They believe what I program. That's what they believe.
That's right. You tell them there's a Santa Claus, there's the Tooth Fairy, they believe it.
Yeah.
We think about this, and
Yeah.
we just accept concepts. We accept beliefs.
Yeah.
You
And,
know,
well, I was just going to say, and I think one of the big reasons is not just the power of that process, but if you think about what we believe and when we were programmed to believe it, we were like my kids are being programmed about Santa Claus at 5 and 6, and they have no ability to reject it. They can't reason,
right.
right?
Yeah.
All they can do is imagine, right? But they can't reason.
They can't reason with it. No.
And when we're taught things about what we can do financially and just our self-concept, all of those things, are before the age of reason. So by the time reasoning comes, by the time we're, young adults, we just believe these things, as you said, as our truth.
Yeah. And I see it all the time in the area of finances and real estate.
I bet.
The economy is in recession.
Yeah.
So
You know what that means?
that's what it means.
Yeah.
That means that it's in recession, right? Because you were told.
Yeah.
So where's the facts and where's what's really going on?
And the truth is the economy can be in recession, but the power of this is that we say that this then means that. Okay,
Right.
so it's a recession, but what does that mean? Well, you know what that means. That means that, real estate's going to be down. I remember I was speaking at the National Realtors Association in 2008. I was in San Diego. And, back then, anybody with a real estate license was an instant millionaire, right? I mean, because, they were just taking orders, right? There's no work. Now, all of a sudden, a lot of these guys and gals were facing the first real market, right?
Yeah.
They'd never seen the ugly side of it.
Yeah.
It was so funny because I was talking to like seasoned pros like you who were like, this is the best season we've ever had. Like, I'm loving this. And other people were like, well, it was just like the Depression. More millionaires made in the Depression than any other time in American history.
Yeah.
Well, at the same time, people were standing in line for food that doesn't exist, throwing themselves off buildings because they're financially ruined. But other people were finding this is the best market. What was the difference is what they believed.
What they believe. That's exactly it. I
Yeah.
love busting gears
Yeah.
during this time. I'm like, are you kidding me?
This is great.
This is such a great opportunity
Yeah.
to buy and sell real estate.
Yeah.
You don't have the forces of everybody coming in and buying up and overpricing.
Yeah.
Like you can,
Yeah.
but they choose
True.
to believe
Yeah.
it.
You're not wasting any time with tire kickers
No.
because the people who are in the market are in the market. They're buyers
Yeah.
or they're sellers. They're for real.
It's simple. There's always marriages. There's always divorces. There's always births. There's always deaths.
That's right.
These are things that are constantly
Yeah.
in motion.
Yeah. So why?
Just because there's a recession,
Doesn't change that.
people
right?
still die.
Yeah. Yeah.
People live in houses, and when they
Yeah,
die,
yeah. Those houses go someplace, right?
that's exactly
It,
it.
it triggers, this, it was funny because when you looked at from 2020 to even now, 2020 at the time of the recording of this, it's mid 2024. Every 7 years, the average person has a real estate event. They're either refinancing or they're moving or they're buying.
Right.
Every 7 years.
Yep.
So if you're in the game, regardless of it. So again, we assign meaning. So this
Yes.
means that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This means that. And realtors are the best during these times because they just go into this conflict of accepting an idea and they're like, oh, what am I going to do? I'm never going to sell any more real estate.
Yeah.
Right? So what if we could change that belief?
Yeah.
Let me just go back a second. The second way that we can accept a belief are created through an emotional sudden impact. Right?
Yeah.
Like something that happens to us.
Yeah.
And in that moment, we define, what has happened as truth.
We define meaning, right?
We find meaning in that truth. Like, let's think about this. Think about 9/11, right?
Yeah.
Everything changed in that moment, right?
You
When
bet.
the planes hit the World Trade Center and the biggest terror attack that America has ever seen happen. It wasn't just America, it was all over the world. People's belief about personal safety was changed.
You bet.
Like I remember. And I live in Canada, Paul.
Right.
And we weren't attacked. I was at the gym on the elliptical when that happened. My two little ones were in the daycare beside me, And I didn't know anybody who died, thank goodness, in the buildings, and I didn't know anybody who died in the planes. But you better believe that my belief,
Yeah.
you know, in mankind, my belief in humanity, my belief about safety, and so many things of this world changed immediately. Instantly,
Yeah.
all of a sudden.
And we assign meaning right then and there, don't we?
Right then and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we think about that, like I think about one of our favorite books is As a Man Thinketh.
Oh,
It's such
such
a
a
good
good book.
It's so powerful.
It's such a good book.
But it's profound in the fact it says that as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
Yeah.
So is he.
Yeah.
Our thoughts drive our belief.
Mm.
That belief drives all of our behavior.
That is so good.
So what if?
That is so good.
What if the things that you believe about your potential, about your ability, about your value, what if that's not true? You had to change that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because, you know, I think what we do is we marginalize, you know, I had created this habit of just marginalizing and diminishing myself, right? And then I took that belief everywhere I went. So it wasn't like, okay, I have this inability to learn, so okay, I'm not going to pass the algebra test. I wasn't going to pass the you know, I ended up I was working for $4.10 an hour as a roofer, and
Wow.
but here's the thing, I hated it. Okay, I hated it, and every single day at 5 o'clock in the morning when I'm on the bus on my way there, I'd be praying that they didn't fire me. Because I thought this was as good as I could get. This was all I could ever do.
Hold on to it. Yeah.
Right?
Isn't that something?
I've generated $1 billion in $1 billion in sales revenue in the 5 companies I've built. Right? And you know, one of those companies was a janitorial business. I've never sold anything more than $10,000. So to get to $1 billion, you got to, you know, I'm moving some units. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm moving some units, and yet, if I look back where I started, if I would have just held on to that belief, I'd never be where I am today. So, you know, people always say, how did you get rich? How did you go from a high school dropout? Well, look at your life. I mean, you got married young and you're top of the game in real estate. Well, how did you do that? Well, you had to become that person. It's not what you did, it's who you became.
Exactly.
Right? And
Yeah.
just as a side note, you mentioned this book. I don't know when or if you're going to do another study, but your study on this book is amazing. And if you hear that Grace Simon is doing a study on this book, get, you know, and don't grow alone. Get your team in on it, because you bring that book alive, and it's so powerful. It's one of those books you can read in an hour but study for a lifetime, right?
Oh yeah,
And
line for line.
And you do it so good.
Oh,
you
thank
No,
you.
you really do, and you know you do.
I love it because of this concept that we can actually change what we think, what we believe, right? And drive forward our lives. And so we want to change these beliefs. We want to challenge them of why they're there, you know, them not being true. So it's really simple.
Yeah.
And we put it into 10 steps.
Okay.
So let's go and think about, there's 10 steps to changing a belief. And the number 1 step is you have to have a desire to change. You have to have a desire for this. You have to have an awareness that you can change. And the new belief that you want, it has to be, you know, something stepping into your future. Like when I was stepping into a role as a speaker, a teacher, and a trainer, and as a coach, it was new to me.
Yeah.
Right? I have done coaching, but not, you know, in a real estate coaching. Right. I've had a lot of success in real estate. You know, at the top of my game.
Yeah.
I've even, you know, did mindset mastery teaching and coaching with the top producing team in Canada.
Wow.
38 agents.
Yeah.
Next leveling their life. But I carried this belief that I couldn't still be successful as a realtor and be a coach at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, why did I carry that? Why did I carry that?
You know, and I think it's amazing, because I think when we look at these programming, right? This program that you're talking about that we run that is, you know, holding us back. Part of it I found is our attachment to either or. Right? Either I do this, or like I can't do 2 things, and yet when you look at your life, You've had 10 plates spinning
All the time.
all the time. All the time. And then here you are, the opportunity, first the desire for you to become this coach comes into your awareness, and you question whether you can, whether you could do it or should do it or you'd be good at it.
Yeah, I do. I know. It's because I'm buying into a belief of somebody else, of something else that somebody's told me.
A program.
That I can't, a program, that I can't do it, but I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
So how did I be a successful, mother of four,
Right.
raising amazing kids,
Right.
Only having a high school graduation, getting married at 19, right? Being pregnant at 20 and raising 4 kids, and
Wow.
being a successful realtor, being a city councilor, having the success that I have. And then how could I not coach as well and helping others?
Yeah.
Right? It's the belief that we carry is so important. And this is what I love, the desire, that step number 1 about, desire becoming an obsessive desire of when I think about the success that I've had as a realtor and as a mother, as a wife, in all areas of my life is successful. I get so excited in the fact that I can help you with that belief. Of course I can. And, when I get so excited in the fact of knowing that as you were challenged in your belief that you wouldn't amount to anything, if it wasn't for you changing that belief, I wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah.
So when I can transfer that and think about empowering realtors, empowering salespeople, my kids, my daughter's a highly successful insurance broker. My son is an incredible mortgage broker. Through that coaching that they've had as a mom, as a coach all their lives, they're producing.
But
right?
you don't know if you can coach.
But I don't know if I can coach. It's
It's
absolutely ridiculous when we really think about it. But that's why it's so important that it's already in you, that desire. Right? Before anything else was created, that desire was already there. God said, I know the plans and the purposes that I have for you. Plans to prosper you and not fail.
Right.
But we question that, whether we can be successful or not.
And it's funny because you say that and you look at people who meet with failure, and if they were really honest, they were doing things that they weren't in love with anyways. Right? They were doing things that wasn't their passion. They were living somebody else's dream, right? And so I think you're spot on. The starting point, has to be this all-consuming obsession, right? You have to really want it. You have to fall in love with it. Yeah, you have to fall in love with it.
Yeah, and there's no perfect timing. Right?
Yeah.
There's no perfect timing, and so that takes us right into step number 2. Is that when you have that desire and you fall in love with that desire, knowing what it is that you want and what you're able to bring forward, that you take action. And so many people,
got it.
They say they take so much time getting ready for the timing. It's not the right timing.
Yeah.
Oh, when it's right.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel right now, right?
Yeah.
They're getting ready. And
Sure.
it's a procrastination that takes place.
I would imagine for those of you, I'm assuming if you're watching this, you're in real estate. You see your sellers and your buyers all the time, right? They're going to sell when the rates change, and they're going to buy when when this changes, as though there's some magical time when it's right. It's when it comes, you got to go.
Oh. Yeah, it was exciting news the other day when the mortgage rates dropped 0.25%.
Yeah.
Like, when you think about the 0.25%, it's really not going to make a whole lot of
Over
difference.
30 years or 40 years, it's nothing.
It's nothing, but it's like it stops society from moving based upon that one thing. It's crazy, but we do it all the time.
Yeah.
And so that step number 2 is that when you get that desire, you take action. You got to act. When you're intuitively guided, be driving down the road. I know that you're driving down the road, and all of a sudden, an idea gets dropped into your awareness, or you're in the shower, you're singing, then all of a sudden you're like,
oh,
what?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, do this, do that.
Wow.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. These things come, and they're powerful because they didn't just come from you. Right? Like, you're not thinking in that moment, right?
Yeah, it's not your best thinking, right? You're being downloaded,
You're
right?
being downloaded.
Yeah.
And it becomes powerful when you immediately act on that idea. But most people don't. They just let it fall away because most people, what they do is they get that idea and the first thing they do is, should I or shouldn't I?
Yeah.
Right. Is that right? Did I hear right? Is that true? Are you sure?
Yeah.
You know, I'm a person of faith. I talk to God all the time, right? I'm not always listening all the time.
Yeah, right.
So he has to catch my attention when I'm
Yeah.
driving, when I'm not thinking.
Yeah.
And then when I'm actually listening, where I'm able to hear, I'll say, "Are you sure?
Yeah. Like how this doesn't fit, right?
This doesn't fit."
Yeah.
You're driving down. What? Are you sure? And it's because it doesn't fit. That idea doesn't fit with your current circumstance.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit in with your current life.
Right.
It's not where you're at. But of course it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Because it's for the future. Everything that, everything that's happened in your past, all your experiences, everything that you've gone through has brought you up to this moment.
Right.
This has already been fulfilled.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
you can't live in reverse.
You can't live in reverse. So, when we're intuitively guided and we get that idea that we need to ask, Socrates says that the quality of the questions we ask determines the answer. He said that.
I never thought of that.
Yeah. He said that, if I act on this idea, will it move me in the direction of my dream? Because chances are there are all kinds of reasons why you should or you shouldn't move in that direction.
Right.
Like if you sit there and you just ask this, should I, shouldn't I?
Yeah, you automatically have a pro and con list because there's both.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's the question? Should I do it?
Should I do it?
If I do it, does it move me there?
Yeah. Does it move me there?
Yeah.
Does this move me in the direction of my desire? Is this taking me forward?
Not whether it's good or bad.
Not whether it's good or bad.
Yeah.
Right?
Man.
And we just get stuck in that place of, is it good or bad? Am I making the right choice or am I not?
You
don't know.
You hear about like paralysis through analysis, right? People overthinking things and they get stuck in their own head.
I do.
Well, it it's a dream killer, isn't it?
It does, yes.
And so by asking this question, if I act on this, will it move me? It moves you.
And do you know what the worst thing is?
Yeah.
It's the worst thing. I get passionate about it. Is that you pull over on the side of the road and you think about that idea. You think about that idea. And everything is energy, and energy's out in the air. All of a sudden, you have someone drive by waving at you because they're moving with your idea. That is the worst thing to have happen when you have a dream, you have an idea, and you've played the long game, and you know what I mean, because you have ideas that you're not moving on, and then you're seeing people with those inventions.
I was sitting on the couch one day. It's like, I don't know, 2:00 in the morning. I was with my girlfriend at the time. And on comes this like infomercial. Remember the long form infomercials? They were like an hour-long show.
Yeah.
And it's this girl with this topsy twirly thing for the hair. And my girl, that was my idea.
No way.
That was her idea. Well, yeah, well, somebody else acted on it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And how often has that happened?
All the time. People have great ideas and then they don't act on them and then they get angry because somebody stole their idea. They didn't steal your idea. You discarded it. You killed it.
Yeah. Somebody else was able to pick it up and run with it. But it was yours to begin with, right? And
so good.
I have to say, Paul, that any time that I have taken action after I've intuitively heard something, it's always been the best thing for my life.
So true.
Man, last year the market was one of the added values that I have as a realtor for my clients, and what I helped to train my agents with is the intuition, moving on that intuition, because it's
spot on.
It's spot on.
Yeah.
And not everybody runs with it. Not
That's
everyone
right,
wants it. So I had a hard time even seeing that value, but now I'm like, oh God, this is great. This is amazing. But last year, the market, there was a small window, and my husband had redid our bungalow loft, and it was beautiful. It was so gorgeous. And the one next door to us, it went up for sale. They held back offers. It went for crazy money. We were watching people like going in, person after person. I get on the phone. Honey, the stager's coming over this afternoon. We're selling the house. And that's what happened, because I heard, I was obedient.
And you moved.
And we moved. We sold it in a day. My husband gave me the number.
Top of the market.
Top of the market. And then within weeks, the market shifted. It changed. It was a small window of opportunity.
I
right?
love that. So you got to act.
You got to act, and this is what we grow into, right? This is the journey.
Yeah.
This is the journey of us growing in our life.
Yeah.
Taking action on the things, and we grow in our skills as we do it.
Yeah, and we become the person who can create it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's what I love.
I love it.
It's what I love to do with the programs that I give to agents, is that I really want to help them develop these kinds of skills, for them to grow, to be, do, and have whatever it is that they want. So taking action was immediately in that process. I had never created the program, right? I hadn't created a program before. I just did what I did. But I had to immediately take action so that I could live out those things that I knew I was called to do in helping realtors reach their success. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing is that what people think is they need to know, what are the action steps before I fall in love with it, right? I'm not going to fall in love with it because I don't want to be disappointed. So until I know how I'm going to do it, I'm not going to put all my passion in it. But really, if you put your passion in it, that's what drives the ideas to you.
Yeah.
You don't have to go get the ideas. The ideas will come. Like you said, you're driving the car, you're taking a shower, and they almost come so fast. In Think and Grow Rich, and I know you teach that book too.
Oh yeah, I love that book.
You were such a great teacher at it.
I love it.
But I remember you quoted Hill, where he said that when success starts to come, it comes so fast and so furious, you wonder where it's hiding all those lean years.
Oh,
right. So all these ideas start coming to you in response to you doing what you love.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
It's so beautiful. I have such a great example of that, because when I wanted to grow realtors and coaching in the group, I was like, I need to grow my skills with sales. I know sales, but coaching agents in the area of sales, I really wanted to develop that. And so I said, I need to do that. Where can I learn? And immediately I heard, immediately, you need to call Paul. You need to call Paul. And I wasn't even really close or connected to you. I knew you through John Maxwell. I saw you on the stage. You were a mentor. I heard you a couple of times, but I knew that you have had tremendous success in coaching people in the area of sales. And so I called immediately. I looked up looked up on the website to call, and I called, and I got Rick on the other line, and I said, listen, I don't need to be sold. I'm already sold. What do I need to do? I'm in. What do I need to do to sign up? When can I start?
Yeah.
Please don't sell me on anything. I just need to start, because I took immediate action. I knew it was the right thing. And here I am today with you.
Yeah.
Right? Years later, and all this growth and expansion that is taking place it's been amazing.
That is.
Yeah, so taking the action is, you don't need to know the next steps.
No.
The next steps are going to come, and they're going to be the best thing for your life. That's really the guarantee.
Right.
That is the guarantee.
Yeah.
Because when you don't take action, you don't move. You don't move, and you don't take action. Nothing's happening, right?
Nothing happens. And I think that's the important thing, is we say that nothing happens, but the truth is something is happening. You're going backwards, right? Because you're either moving forward or you're going backwards, right?
Yeah.
So number one is we got to have this desire, right? We got to fall in love with this. Number two is we've got to kind of be intuitively we got to take action when we're intuitively guided. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then number three was, to my point, is who you surround yourself matters. So that was my next step. That was the action I needed to take, was to call Paul, and not just Paul, but the community that he had.
Yeah.
It's so important that when you say yes to that desire and you take action, that who you surround yourself matters.
Yeah.
You're in sales, and you want to grow in your sales. You need to put yourself around the best salespeople.
Yeah, it's not just what you learn; it's who you learn from.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. You got to find your yes people.
Your yes people.
Yeah.
I see that, and I believe that in you, right?
I love that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to look around, and if you can't find them, then you have to create it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to get those people around you. Create something for yourself to go after what it is that you want.
And you know what? It's what's interesting is that people think that they're helping you by playing the role of the devil's advocate. But like you just said, I see that and I believe that in you. finding people who believe in you, those yes people, right,
Oh yeah.
is so critically important. And I have found that if you find a handful, you're lucky. If you found 4 or 5 people that
Wow.
like can really believe in you and really support you and really encourage you, because when you're doing step number 2, you're not doing that with confidence. I mean you're doing that with blind faith, right?
Yeah.
Not like with absolute certainty. Certainly when you're starting. So you have to be fortified, don't you?
Oh, you sure do.
Yeah.
Right? I remember when Les Brown says that, if everybody got what they wanted,
Yeah.
everybody would be skinny, rich, and happy. Right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants that, right?
Yeah, everyone wants to be skinny.
Yeah. So what are you in love with? What do you really want? Like what makes your heart sing?
Yeah.
Like what makes that sound within you? So number 1 is you got to fall in love with it. Number 2 is you got to take action.
Yeah.
You got to act on it. You got to be intuitively guided, and you got to surround yourself. Number 3 is you got to surround yourself with the yes people.
Yeah.
You got to find your yes.
I
And
love
you got to,
that.
you got to go from what prevents us from doing what it is that we want.
Right.
It's number 4 is you can't negotiate with your terms. You can't negotiate with your dream. Don't negotiate with it.
Yeah.
And I said that, right, Paul? I said, when I knew that I was to call you, to improve my sales skill,
Yeah.
I did it to an action. And I said to Rick, you don't have to sell me. I'm sold. I'm in.
Right.
I didn't need to know how much the program was. I mean, of course they needed to know how much it was so I could pay it, but
Right.
it
Not
wasn't
to make a decision.
it wasn't going to make my decision. And so many people are
Yep.
stuck on that. Well, how much does it cost?
Yeah.
I don't know if I can afford it,
Yeah.
right? And your dream, it needs you. It needs all of you.
It's so good. I'm learning Italian right now. And what's funny is in my library, I probably have 20 courses to learn Spanish, right? I've been wanting, I've wanted to learn, a foreign language my whole life. And, I grew up Italian and we lost the language. Like when my parents came from Calabria, they had my mom and uncles teach them English. So they didn't teach their kids Italian. So so the language died in our family, right? And I always wanted, and then when I started my first business, it was a cleaning company. So I hired lots of Hispanics, and people who spoke Spanish from all over South America. And so, I couldn't communicate with them. So for the first, 5 years, it was, sounds like 2 words, first word, 3 syllables, right? I was playing charades to be able to communicate with my team.
Right.
So I wanted to learn this program. And every time I started, I would ask myself, how long is it going to take me to learn this? How long is it going to take? So this time when I've committed to Italian, I realized, who cares how long it's going to take? It's going to take however long it takes. I was negotiating all those years. I was negotiating
Interesting.
not just how much it was going to cost, but how long will it take? Well, who cares how long it's going to take?
Who cares? Yeah.
Do you want it? Yeah. Well, then take action. Take action. Find the people who can help you. And so now for Italian, I've got a program. I've got a YouTube instructor. And now I've got a girl in Milan who every single day for an hour with my wife and I talks to us in Italian.
Wow.
And so now I found so when I'm just looking at what you're talking about, and so I've got the desire, got the action, and I'm not negotiating this time. I'm not negotiating with how long is it going to take. I found my yes people, and I'm not going to, who cares how long it's going to take? I'm going to do it. And, we've started and stopped. We have a dog that came down with seizures, came down with epilepsy. So that kind of threw a hand grenade into the middle of our plan, right? So we stopped for 3 months. And it would have been so easy to quit, like I did with Spanish, right?
Right.
But this time, because I wasn't negotiating and because I had found my yes people, because I had committed to action, and because, we fell in love with it. We went to Rome, we found a place to move into Rome.
Yes.
We burned the bridges.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's exactly
This works.
it. Yeah, it works. It really does. I'm not negotiating with my dream of being in Florida. For half the year, right? You know?
Right. Yeah, good.
We were last night going, oh yeah, I love this. I feel this, right? But people, they leave their dream and their desire aside because it hasn't happened within a certain amount of time, right? And I love what you were saying about, you know, what steps you took in making sure that it happens for you to learn Italian. Because step number 5 is you have to be creative.
I love it. Yeah.
And you were really
and we
creative.
got very creative.
You got very creative.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing that's going to limit me. There's nothing that's going to keep me back from getting what it is that I want in my life.
Right.
You know, so you have to get creative. Just like you don't know the steps, right? You have to have the people around you, your yes people surrounding, and right. What do I need to do in order to have this possibility thinking for expanding on the desire that I don't know, that doesn't really currently fit within where I'm at?
Yeah,
right?
And it's not going to fit.
No,
not at all. Right. Yeah.
And you're constantly in this place of distractions and pull and tugs of life holds, like you said.
So true.
The dog with the epilepsy, like you didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
And, you know, COVID happening, that put a stop on a lot of people's lives. But your desire is to speak Italian, to live in Italy. Right. And so maybe you haven't bought your home yet, but doesn't mean that you're not going to buy it in the future.
No, right.
Right?
Right.
So it's so good. You don't know all the answers. And so that's why, another point why it's so important for us to take these steps, because we don't know the timing that's in our control and outside of our control.
No, and you know, for me, I've always found an excuse.
Oh, yeah, of course.
You know? And I can remember a good Canadian, Bob Proctor, who was mentoring me years ago. I was business partners with Bob for a
good
number.
Good people come out of Canada, you
know? Yeah, of course. You know? You know?
You know?
Hey?
Yeah.
But, you know, I was business partners with Bob for a number of years. And I can remember him saying, look, you know, the only thing worse than an excuse is a good one. Right? And I had all kinds of good excuses. So, you know, there's all kinds of reasons why what you want you can't do. If you look hard enough, you'll find them. You have to be creative enough to find the way, the people, the next step. And if you can't find it, you gotta create it.
Yeah, you gotta stay in this place of possibilities. Stay in the place of possibilities, not the limitations.
Yeah.
You know, there's more than one way of doing things. You know, I have found that other people have similar dreams as I do.
Yeah.
Right? Like my dream is not the only dream out there, and there's other people that carry similar dreams. And those people they're gonna carry an integral part to fulfilling that dream and that purpose.
That's right. Yeah.
Right? And so step number 6 is you need to challenge your old beliefs. You know, to hold back those distractions and pullbacks. You need to challenge it. That when you have put those people around you, or they've come to you, that are going to be integral for building on that dream and that purpose and that reality coming, that, you know, you really need to be intentional on challenging the beliefs that you hold. I have constantly this morning, we had a conversation off camera, right? Of challenging myself and my beliefs.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a professional at asking everyone else's opinion. Like, I'm really good at that. I'm good at asking for opinion.
Should have been a poll taker, right? Instead of a realtor, right? Yeah.
Right? Like, what do you think I should do?
Yeah.
You know, is this good? Is this dream? Is it going to happen? I just got so good at that. I'm sure for yourself, we get into that, right?
It becomes a habit if you're not careful.
Yeah.
If you're not careful, right? I mean.
But the funny thing is that you get professional at asking people that have never done what you're doing. They've really not done anything. And so why would you ask people that don't know what they're doing?
Right.
Right? I have that with my new agents. That they see me producing, they see what I'm doing, and then they'll go and they'll ask a realtor that isn't doing anything.
Right. What they think.
That boggles my mind. I'm not understanding, but I should, because I do. I go and ask other things of other people, but we all do it.
Yeah.
And these are the dream killers.
Yeah.
And so we have to stay in this place of possibility thinking, challenging, what it is, being creative. Being creative for what it is that we want, not negotiating and moving forward.
Yeah,
keeping this motion.
I think if you don't, you enter in this place I call, subtle sabotage.
Oh.
Right? Where you're sabotaging and you don't even know it, right? So you get somebody who is a new agent. They've got you as a top performer who's trained top performers, who's done this for decades at the highest level, right?
Yeah.
You know, 6, 7 figures, 6, 7 figures, 6, 7 figures all the time. And what they do is they down-regulate, they down-habituate. He says in this book, he says, you don't get what you want, you get who you are.
Yeah.
And so what we do is we sabotage in a very subtle way, not realizing, asking people who don't know, who haven't done it, what their opinion is. The problem is that ignorant people have an opinion.
They do.
And they're happy to share it. And they're happy to share it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And I always I spray it because it might be contagious, And so you got to be careful.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Oh man, you got to guard it with everything.
All right. So number 1 is you got to have this desire. You got to fall in love with it. Number 2, you got to intuitively act. Number 3, you have to find your yes people. Number 4, you can't negotiate. Number 5, you got to be creative in how you figure it all out. Right? You got to do things you've never done before. Go places you've never been. And number 6 is you've got to challenge. You got to like pull that old belief and say, does this serve me? And if it doesn't, you got to. So 7.
So 7 is we got to take those steps without knowing any of the other steps.
Got to do it blind.
You got to do it blind. Sorry, friends. We gotta take the first step. It fortifies.
What was the MLK Martin Luther King quote about the staircase? You've got to take the first step before any of the other steps appear, or something like that,
yeah,
right?
Right. And that's exactly it.
Yeah, you can't. You step number 8 doesn't come until you've stepped on step number 7, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're challenging and you're choosing, right? You're challenging and you're choosing. But if you're not challenging, you're just choosing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And I feel the momentum even sitting here, talking about this, taking the steps forward and not knowing those steps, but moving in the direction, right, of purpose.
What you just said there is so powerful, because if you're not challenging, then you're if you're not changing something, then you're if you're overweight and you're not changing that, then you're choosing to be overweight.
Yeah.
Now you would never think of that. You wouldn't think that you're choosing that, but if you're not changing it, you're choosing it. So if you're not challenging it, you're choosing. I love that. If you're not challenging, you're choosing it.
I say it all the time now.
It's brilliant.
It's like, wow, what do I need to changing? I'm not choosing this, so I need to change something about my life, right? And it's taking that action, not knowing the steps, and just keeping on moving forward. Yeah, being creative, this possibility thinking,
So you've got to take the next step without knowing all the other steps. So that requires a level of faith that goes beyond just blind faith, right? Because you've got to step with certainty, don't you? You still have to commit all the way. You can't commit a little bit. You got to go all in.
You either believe it or you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took that commitment a couple of years ago where I said, again, I'm a person of faith, so I either believe in the Word of God or I don't. And so everything has to be aligned to that. Either I believe it or I don't. Either I have faith or I don't. And that really takes the next step. And the next step is being the law of sacrifice. Oh, man. You have to get really clear on the who and the why you're going to make this a priority. Yeah. This requires the sacrifice of making decisions that maybe others won't approve.
Yeah.
Others, they won't enjoy seeing you let them go. Sometimes you got to let them go.
Right.
That's hard.
Yeah.
Right? But what's the greater? It's giving up the lesser for the greater. It's giving up those things those people that are the dream killers.
Yeah.
The people that see the doubts, the cautions.
I found that oftentimes for me, it's not even that I didn't have to let people go as much as they fell away.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
Once I defined this is what I love, I defined this is what I was going to do. I defined that this was my tribe. I defined, this was non-negotiables. These were the lines in the sand, the hills I was going to die on.
Yeah.
Once I started doing that, the things that were not in harmony or incongruent with this new dream, they kind of fall away.
They do.
You know, it's a sacrifice. We call it a lot of sacrifice, but it's not like you've got to go out and, you know, divorce from people and break up friendships. They just kind of, they're no longer in harmony.
Yeah, it's true, and it's not so hard. We think that it's hard, but when you're going after what you really want and you surround yourself with the right people, it's really exciting. And you know, going after in this time of life of next leveling, helping to next level salespeople, you know, whether you're insurance or mortgage or real estate, and you know, investing myself with you, you know, on the one-on-one and build in the community. But still being successful at real estate, being a city councilor, I needed to structure my life, make those decisions of what can I entertain and what can't I entertain. Hey, I'm a high ID. I'm a high ID. I like to be in the party. I like to have people accept me, love me. If they're inviting me, it's like, oh, of course I want to say yes.
Yeah.
But I needed to change some things. My calendar, wow, you know, it's full. People look at my phone and they'll see my calendar and like,
how do you live that, right?
How do you live that? And that's because I mean, this is my challenge all the time is that, you know, what is the greater purpose? You know, what am I going to entertain and what am I not going to entertain?
Yeah.
You know what it means? Not going to some parties. It means not going on some trips that I would like to go on. I travel a lot in a year. So so it's maybe not having as many, you know, focusing on spending more time with the realtors and spending more time on the development that I need to move everything forward. It says maybe it says saying no to some things for a little while.
Right.
It says not forever.
It's kind of like new boundaries, right?
It's new boundaries. Yeah, it's exactly because everything has to align into this purpose.
I love it.
Yeah.
So let me just ask you a question on this. How do you know, like, how do you define what is of higher value? Is it always going back to the desire? Does the desire tell you what that is? Is it intuition too? I mean, does it grow over time, your ability to do that? All of that?
I say yes.
Yeah.
All of that.
All that.
That's why the 10 steps, it's not just one step, it's 10 steps.
All of them combined.
It's practicing them all together.
Yeah, they layer.
Yeah, because I find myself in this place and I think about Rome wasn't built in a
day,
right? I think, wow, these people like year after it took hundreds of years to finish things, right?
Yeah.
Centuries to finish buildings and completions. So what kept their vision? Like what held that?
Yeah, purpose, right?
The purpose of the why, and things really haven't changed. It's that purpose of why you're doing what you're doing. What is it? What is it for? And why does it matter? And that takes us into step number 9. Is it requires a visionary action and being able to see yourself in possession of the perfection that you're claiming. So there was something casted years ago. You know, I had this vision, you know, of having mentorship centers around the world. And it was very real to me. Like I could describe everything about the picture. And, you know, I've taken steps to build that and to move that forward. I'm not there yet. But if I let go of that vision, I can let go of everything. Right? Like it's so important that when I'm walking into that mentorship center, when I'm seeing the people there, who they are, what it's about, that I can feel it, I can see it, I'm believing it. Even though it's not there, I'm holding that image.
In your mind's eye.
Yeah. And it is a challenge, but it's so important. And actually, you taught me a really great lesson that I have as part of my program is that Any Given Tuesday.
Ah, yeah, that is so powerful.
How about you? Can you share that with us?
And so what most people do is most people try to live into their dream from here to there, right? And whatever Any Given Tuesday is we start from there and we come to here. So we're imagining a day in our life, not like the most spectacular day, just any given Tuesday.
Any given Tuesday.
Like, you know, because everybody, I think everybody sits down and they're like, what would I want with my best day in my life? But okay, that's great. But what would you want on every given, because you're going to have a lot more Tuesdays than you're the best day of your life. Best day of your life is one day. You know, what about all the other days? So it's the idea of like on any given Tuesday, if you could create and design, what would it look like? And you're getting the image and you're getting the feeling of what that's like. So it's not just the house, it's that when I have the house, I have certainty, I have confidence, I have, a sense of peace, right, in my mind. And then what I'm doing is I'm writing this day from the future, but in present tense.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's the powers that I'm making. And then what I encourage people to do is, so now that I know what that energy signature is, what that feeling is, then what I do is I go through my life and I start in my kitchen and I open up the first drawer and I say, what's a match and what isn't a match? And if it doesn't match, I get rid of it.
Oh.
I go through my closet if it's not a match. And you know what most people find is that they wear 20% of their clothes. So they've got all these clothes that they hate. They don't look good in it. It reminds them that they're fat or overweight or underweight or whatever it is. They don't like them, but maybe they paid a lot of money for it. So they don't want to release it. And I just say, let it go. If it doesn't serve you, if it doesn't match the life you want, let it go. Make room for what you do, and that's the exercise. And it really is what you just said. It's about visioning your best life, seeing yourself in possession of it. That's exactly what this is. I love this.
It's so powerful.
Yeah, it really is.
And it's really fun because my husband and I will do that often. He'll yell out to me, "We're living our any given Tuesday today, honey."
I love it.
And we laugh because you have to invite the other people around you. It's important that if you're married, you have family in your household, that you're bringing them along with your drink.
Yeah, this can't be a solo trip.
No.
Or it ends up being a solo trip.
It becomes a solo trip.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, number 10 then. We've got 9 of great ones. I don't know how you make it better. What's the 10th?
No kidding, right? And this is epic. It really is the key of keys. Number 10 is to celebrating the victories along the way.
Oh, this is good. Yeah.
This is really, Paul, this has been the greatest weapon. This is the weapon, guys, of my life. And it really is a core teaching to what I bring to a 12-week program that I do with my clients, because it's so important. It's so valuable to knowing this, that, in order to design and to live a fulfilling life, to be, do, and have what it is that you want, you have to celebrate along the way.
Yeah.
Celebrate along the way. I was taught to always be thankful in every circumstance.
Yeah.
To be thankful for everything, because that's the will of God for your life. And so I did that, but I missed out on a lot of energy.
Sure.
And lots of things because I didn't know how to celebrate my own victories. Like, I'm part of this process.
Yeah.
We're co-creators, right? Like, we're part of this journey, and I was thankful to God all the time, but we're part of this process. There's difference in that, right?
Yeah, that's different than, popping the cork on a bottle of champagne and saying, well done, right?
That's right, exactly. And this awareness really happened in a one-on-one coaching call that we had, where, again, it's so important who you surround yourself with, right? Where you go towards, who you move towards, and learning from is so important. And I was sharing my win, the things that I've been successful in. Sharing as probably like, well, I've done this, I've done that, and you're just like, wait, okay, Grace, back up here. When is anything good enough? Like, when are you going to see your wins and your victories? Like, do you even see your success? Like, oh my goodness, Grace, you know how many thousands of starving realtors out there,
And you're killing it.
And you're killing it, and like, you're not celebrating. I can tell you have not taken any time to celebrate anything, and that was a game stopper for me. Thank you for saying that, right? But that's why it's so important for us to, be in alignment and have your yes people around you. Because for me, that was an aha moment, and so, the step number 10, celebrating the victories along the way.
Well, because I think what we get caught up into, is it a big victory? And size doesn't matter, right? The universe, the way our mind works, it doesn't register big or small. It just registers, success or failure, right?
Exactly. And we stay in this place of striving, never arriving.
Yeah, oh, I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
No matter how much money I made, how many transactions I did in a year. It's like, oh, well, now, next year. And I was just living in a transactional life.
Wow.
Year to year.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when we learn how to celebrate, everything opens up in our life.
Yeah.
Everything opens. The opportunities come, right? The realizations that, oh my word, wow, that just happened. Like, we're making this, we're creating this. Look at all the people that are gathering around, and just your life opens up, and you take your mind off the outcome, because you're holding this image, you're holding this belief, you already know it's there, right? But it's part of the process of everything that we do, every step that we take matters, and it's a celebration.
It really does.
Yeah, some of us wait for that outcome, and we waste so much time and energy. It kind of makes me sad when I think about that, and it really is, Paul. If you want to elaborate, it's the gap between here and there that we live in.
Well, I think what happens is we wait for an outcome, when in fact I think what we do is we should celebrate at the evidence. So you're praying to God for a sign, and then a sign comes. No, there might not be an outcome attached to that sign, but so you're praying for an opportunity, and then an email comes in. That's an answer to prayer.
It is.
Right? Now, although you haven't run that lead down and you haven't closed the deal, but you celebrate that's a victory. It's one of the things that I do is I keep an evidence journal. So when once I set a goal, anytime anything, these little kind of God wink moments, right, or these out of the blue things happen, I take note of that, and I say, hold on, this is evidence that this is in process. Because one of the number one reasons why people quit working towards a goal is because they don't see evidence of it. Price Pritchard, who wrote U Squared, he says that absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence, that the truth isn't always in the appearance of things.
That's right.
So even though it may not appear that it's working, we know that the universe is conspiring for our highest good.
That's really good. And so a lot of it is that moving of faith, right? Mm-hmm. Faith is believing.
Yeah.
As if even though there isn't anything evident. And it's so good that, like you said, everything is working for our good in every circumstance. Yeah. So, when we open up our life to celebrating those little things, the email that doesn't go anywhere, but it's the evidence that something's happening.
That's
Somebody's seeing your message.
That's right.
And they've responded.
Right? You've connected, right?
We may need to work on our lead generating, our phone calls, our follow-up. That's okay.
Sure.
But you got that indication that something is working.
Right.
And so when we open up and just be grateful and celebrate those things, opportunities come, ideas come, and really, this is the powerful point that I wanna make, is that when we open up our life to gratitude and gratefulness and celebrating, that the source of that first idea, the source of the desire, right? There's an opening in your life for him to really come in and move through every circumstance. My source is God, the grand overall designer of all things.
Grand overall design, that's good.
Yeah, this is being opened up in your life when you're just like, I'm willing, right? I'm willing to challenge. I'm willing to take the next step. I'm willing not to negotiate. I'm willing to celebrate along the way, even when I don't see a whole lot of it. I'm going to.
Yeah.
God honors that.
Yeah.
And just okay, whew, let's breathe more into this.
Yeah.
Let's go. You're moving. We're gonna do it. And you just have all these opportunities and possibilities come in. So, if you're willing to take these 10 keys, these 10 key steps for challenging and transforming your beliefs, the divine being expressed through us will come in its fullness.
So
ask, seek, find.
Yeah.
Right?
So true, isn't it?
It's powerful.
Yeah.
This lesson is powerful.
Yeah.
Paul, it's transformative. And so I want to say thank you for writing it. Thank you for, having that desire, taking action on it. That brings me alongside of you to be a partner.
Sure.
It starts from something. You didn't see me. I wasn't in your knowledge and your awareness. right when that happened.
But I knew somebody was there. I didn't know it was you, but I knew.
And there's many others.
Sure.
There's many others. And it's still the ripple effect.
That's right. Yeah.
The legacy of that is so important. So, do not despise the small beginnings.
So good.
Right?
Yeah.
Because they'll turn into transformative experiences if you just lean in to allowing this awareness to open up. So the level of awareness we allow ourselves to experience sets the stage for creating the vision of what we want to hold on to ourselves as we move through this progression. This is moving. This is moving, people. You're dreaming of possibilities that are out there for us to believe. The possibilities that I know that's for my life, to be that leader, to be the communicator, to be the influencer that I desire, to help people along their journey through the phases in their life and to come into all that they have.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's great work, isn't it?
it's fantastic work if we say yes.
And you're a natural. I mean, could you imagine if you'd have said no? Could you imagine if you'd have been trapped in the either or of this? If you didn't do these 10 steps and really challenge the limiting belief that I don't know if I can do this and that, right? All of these people would be robbed of, your giftedness. And, for many people who are watching this, for them to be able to work with somebody at your level is very rare. To be able to have access to you and to be able to sit down and have your mentorship, have you as a thinking partner. I mean, you're really fortunate if you can find somebody who is not only gifted in what they do, gifted in the ability to transfer what they do, and then has the heart and willingness to do that. And you do. Yeah. You do.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I chose a good mentor.
Well,
Building the John Maxwell group, and I'm learning from the best, but I had to say yes to that and make that step, right?
Yeah.
So I'm learning to do it for my own life.
Yeah.
Right? You want to learn from somebody that's authentic, like you are, like I am, to help guide people to the full awareness of their purpose and their oneness with their creator to achieve extraordinary results in all areas of their life.
Yeah.
It's not just about career.
Sure.
Right?
Right.
It's about everything, all things in all areas of your life. So what does possibility look like for you? I want to encourage you to enter into the process for allowing a desire to come alive, to a place of an all-consuming obsession and seeing what will come, and they will come, to see what will come and try to steal, kill, and destroy. But instead of caving in, and falling back, I want you to commit to something today, right now. I want you to commit to challenging it, to fight for what's in your life. Your dream needs all of you, for your life, your business, whatever it is. And to begin to apply these 10 steps.
Yep.
Yeah. Learning how to let go, learning how to listen, and the willingness for action. And I'm here for you every step of the way. I'm here to be a partner in belief, to hold the image of possibility with you and help guide you to your next steps, just as Paul has done for me. I'm so excited to connect with you. I believe in you, and I believe in every possibility, all possibilities that you hold to discover for your life. Thanks for joining. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you. Be well.
Thank you. Be well.